Yo, people, welcome back to DR Sports Transfers. You already know what time it is. It's time for another great show here. And listen, big up the chat. I'm your host to do the most, Matisse, in the building. I am looking forward to this once again because Leicester are the talk of the town. They're the hot topic right now. We need to focus and zoom in on Leicester, a team that definitely, due to their standards of last few years, definitely underachieved last year. I actually thought Brendan Rodgers would get sacked or he would just walk away. Maybe the team needs, rejigging, remotivating, recleansing, whatever you want to say, giving a new lease of life, bringing some players, take out some players. They haven't done much business. I'm a little bit disappointed in Leicester, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised, but it is what it is. And now, when I take a look at things, I'm seeing a lot of outgoings. I'm seeing Maddison, I'm seeing Schmeichel, Tielemans, lots of players being linked with moves, even Harvey Barnes. I'm not saying Fofana as well. I'm not saying all these deals are going to happen, but it just goes to show the trajectory of the team at the moment. It seems to be going in a downward trajectory. If it wasn't, all of these players wouldn't be looking for exits. They got a lot of good players, but hence the clubs looking at them and trying to bring them in. But at the same time, it seems like people are trying to make their way out now, and contracts are coming towards their end, especially in the midfield. So we start with Newcastle. Revised bid for Maddison is lower than it was earlier claimed. It's understood that the second offer exceeds 40 million, including add-ons. However, this is obviously too low for Leicester City in terms of their valuation of the player. Remember, Maddison's contract ends in 2024. Tielemans is 2023. I think Ndidi is 2024 as well. So obviously with that, Maddison and Ndidi, if clubs were going in for those two, would be slightly more than Tielemans. So they're going to have to raise that price. Maybe if you want to get Maddison at a cheap rate, you'd have to wait until next summer. That's when the price would really come down. This would be a brilliant signing for Newcastle. Let's have it right. It would be a proper signing, a statement of intent to show that they're really serious about competing this season for European places. We definitely want to see more business from Newcastle. But some people are saying, how could they even dare to think that they could sign Maddison? And I'll tell you how. The project is there. The ambition is there. You could say in a couple of years that Newcastle could even be banging on the door for that fifth spot, which in a couple of years' time will give you Champions League football. I'm not saying they're going to qualify, but they'll be banging on the door if they make the right signings. If they have a similar type, trajectory as we saw from the start of the season, mid-season with those signings, Eddie Howe coming into the end of the season, they were two completely different teams. From the first half of the season to the second half, it was like watching, water and wine. It was different, completely different. And now, if they continue on that path and recruitment is still strong, there's no reason to think that they couldn't leapfrog, those teams from 10th to 7th, 8th, the West Hams, the Leicesters, like I said, are dropping out. There could be an opportunity for Newcastle to start banging on the door. So when it goes to 5 spots, I think they're in with a shout in a few years if they do their business. Someone said, I will give Newcastle 4 years to get into the top 6. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. It depends on recruitment. Things can happen very quickly in football. You never know. Especially if Eddie Howe keeps doing what he's doing. He's done a brilliant job so far. So you really never know. We never gave Leicester that trajectory of 6, years or whatever, 4 years. They just went and won the league. Obviously, that was 1 in a million. But even to go for top 4, we've seen West Ham go from relegation zone a few years ago to now trying to compete for top 4 last year, and obviously just falling short, lack of depth. So it doesn't always have to be a massive, big plan to get into the top 4. Last couple of years, 3-4 years of me watching the top 4 race, I've just seen teams trying to bottle it. I haven't seen teams that are of a high level that are just constantly going at it, winning week after week. I've seen so many teams just dropping points. Almost sometimes it looks like nobody even wants top 4. And then they just get in there by default. So I wouldn't say that Newcastle would be too far off if they do incredible business. This would be the start of that, because this is definitely a top 4 or top 6 player in Maddison. So we'll see if they up their bid to match what Leicester want. I think in terms of Leicester's outgoings, whoever moves the quickest will get the player that they want, and then that will block off other moves. I don't think they'll get rid of, say, Fofana and Maddison. I don't think they'll get rid of, say, Harvey Barnes and somebody else. I think it might be a maximum of 2 outgoings, maybe a Tielemans and a someone else. It depends. But if you don't get the player that you want from Leicester soon, then if some other team comes in, you're probably going to get your transfer blocked, because I don't see how they let go of their whole spine this late on in the window. Also, Leicester goalkeeper Schmeichel is close to joining French side Nice. He'll have a medical this week, ending his 11-year stay at the club. And this is another key player in Schmeichel. He's been there a long, long time, as said there. And he's been a top goalkeeper for them, to be fair. He's been a top goalkeeper. So, yeah, I mean, this is quite impressive for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. I think in terms of Nice, is it not Aaron Ramsey who's also gone to Nice there in the last few hours from Juventus? So look, I'm interested to see some of those players playing out there and seeing what they can do. It's not too long ago that Nice, I think, were even challenging for the league. So they're a nice team, and I like the French league. I think the French league is probably one of the best leagues to compare with the Premier League at times. Obviously, the Championship as well. From a physicality standpoint, they tend to match up quite well. We tend to do quite well when it comes to French imports into this league. They tend to do pretty well. And Leicester are actually a big part of that with Kante, Mahrez, Fofana. Like, Leicester have really had a good hold on the French market in the last few years. They've had some really good bargains out there. They'll need to continue that. Obviously, they bought Samari last summer as well. So probably to replace some of these outgoing midfielders. They knew this was going to happen. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they get along. Let's see what some of the comments are saying. Chelsea closing in on Cucurella. We'll definitely talk about that in just a second. Jota, easy 20 plus goals this season. Will he play enough games? That's the only thing with Jota. Will he play enough games to get those 20 plus goals? I'm not too sure. If he's playing down the middle, he's also got Darwin Núñez to compete with. So Firmino as well. So a lot of competition down the middle for Liverpool. So I'm not sure about that one personally. But yeah, let's move on. RB Leipzig are also leading the race to bring back their striker, Timo Werner. Obviously, his move to Chelsea hasn't gone as planned. They've moved ahead of Juventus in that race. And obviously, Chelsea want to do some sort of swap deal. Todd Boehly, famous for his swap deals in baseball. He wants to do swap deals as he's done with the Dodgers. He's quickly learning that swap deals are not easy to do in football. Very rarely do they actually come off. We've seen very rarely, maybe some Mkhitaryan, Alexis Sanchez, Arsenal, Manchester United. There's not many that come off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. Or maybe Arthur and Pjanic, if that was even a straight swap. I think it was. But that was a little bit dodgy as well, that deal. I can't lie. There's something going on there. But doesn't happen too often is the point. So I don't know. I think obviously they would like to bring in Gvardiol from RB Leipzig, the 20-year-old centre-back from Croatia. But that's for sure not going to happen. I think they've taken him off of the table in terms of even daring to involve him in a deal. But he is very high up on Tuchel's list in terms of transfer targets, according to Fabrizio. But I personally don't think he'll move this summer. I'm pretty sure earlier in the window, it was already made quite clear that he was going to stay, that he was going to do one more year minimum at RB Leipzig, learning, improving. He's only 20. So, yeah, he's got a long career ahead of him as a defender. Probably doesn't need to jump straight into the Premier League as of yet, but very talented from what I hear. So we'll see. Manchester United have been bringing in some new players of their own. Benny McCarthy, Tom Huddleston going into the under-21s. It's looking good. I don't know. The potential of these boys, you can never tell with young players, but I'm interested to see what happens with these two, Benny McCarthy and Tom Huddleston. They've definitely excelled through the youth setups over the years, come through Tottenham, come through Blackburn, come through Hull City, had good loan spells out there, and now they've made the jump to Manchester United, big Manchester United under Ten Hag. I think Tom Huddleston in midfield, you could definitely see him switching play, taking those long shots as he does. Looking forward to that. And Benny McCarthy, well, Man United did need a striker to replace Ronaldo. So there you have it. That's their guy. And great goal scoring record for South Africa. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those two. And I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm being serious, people. Let's move on. Man United are looking to sell 6 defenders before the end of the window. Now, I'm just trying to go through this in my head. I've got Phil Jones, Bailly, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Telles, Luke Shaw. I've probably counted up too many. I'm not sure. Maybe that's your 6. But there is actually quite a lot of defenders at Manchester United that they could actually do with moving on. So that's actually fair enough. You can understand where that comes from. They've obviously signed their new left back as well from Final. So, yeah, I think, I don't think they'll get rid of all 6. But if you want to have a clear out, then go for it, There's probably some other names that I'm not thinking of. Man United fans will know better than me on how much kind of dead wood that they may have lingering around in their squad. But those names all for me would definitely could do with a move. Not all of them at once, but for sure it hasn't worked out for any of them at the moment that I've mentioned. And they're all quite senior on big wages, taking up a lot of space in the squad. And none of them really do I have a lot of high hopes for, if I'm being completely honest. I think Eric Bailly is just so injury prone. Tellez, I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe he hasn't been given enough opportunity, but Man United fans, let me know in the comments. Maybe you've seen enough. I don't know. Luke Shaw, for sure, we've seen enough. I think definitely time for a new challenge for him. Phil Jones, I mean, God, so many injuries as well. Definitely needs to move on, get some fitness and play regularly. He's out at that age now where you need to be playing games. Lindelof, again, I don't know. I think that's probably the one where you could say that you'd keep. I don't think he's been very impressive, but, you got to keep some of them. And Wan-Bissaka, I mean, the guy is just not suited to possession-based football, I don't think, in terms of playing out from the back. And even going forward as a modern-day fullback, you're not getting the best attacking prowess there. So there's a lot of work to do, but we shall see. Also, Napoli are in talks for Chelsea's goalkeeper, Kepa. Obviously, again, hasn't worked out very well for him. I think he was record signing in the goalkeeping department. Maybe a tussle between him and Alisson, if I get my fees correct. But hasn't worked out for Kepa. He's basically second choice now. Big wages. I think he's on about 150k. Obviously, cost upwards of 70 million. And he's obviously got a World Cup. I don't know if he's going to make the squad because the goalkeepers in Spain are all over the place. Sometimes it's Simon, sometimes it's De Gea. I don't know if he's still involved. Kepa, there's probably a few others that I'm forgetting. So it's a bit of a mess back there. So let's see. But he definitely needs to make a move. If he stands a chance of even making the squad and being on the bench or whatever, he needs to be playing regularly. So that's where the Napoli link comes from. And I mean, I don't know how close it is, to be honest, because it's not really well reported at the moment on our side. We're not really seeing too many details. But we shall see. It's a loan deal. We'll see how many wages are going to get paid. Last time I heard it was 3/4 of the wage Chelsea would be paying, which is a big amount, really. It almost makes it redundant. But we'll see. Maybe the negotiations will continue there. We might actually get a better cut. Kepa was more expensive than Alisson. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, it's not good news. Not good news for me. New Jota contract at Liverpool. I haven't seen that actually, but okay, I'll take a look at that now. I'll take a look. I'll see if I can find something on that one. But I mean, he only just signed, really, so that's quite quick, isn't it, to get a new contract? But do you know what Liverpool are very smart at? They're very smart at community service, and I mean the fact that they have their players on very low wages for what they're actually doing, and obviously they're paid on bonuses and increments and whether they do certain things, and that's fantastic. I think I think right now the way wages are going, it's very hard to move players on if you stick them on stupid wages. Chelsea and Manchester United will know all about that. If you put them on a lower base and make it a little bit more reward based on whether goals, tallies, or appearances, or whatever you want to do, I think it makes a lot more sense. I think people need to start following Liverpool's model and wage structure a lot better. I mean, last time I see Mane was on a base of 100 before he went to Bayern. I mean, that's ridiculous. Literally one of the best wingers in the Premier League making 100. Definitely getting fleeced for him. He's definitely not getting the money he probably should be making in comparison. But from a club standpoint, they're working magic over there. But we'll see. It's mad. Let's see. Off topic, Fofana took Leicester out of his bio. Oh, okay. I mean, I also did see that Fofana liked a tweet as well, Chelsea related. He's been also following some Chelsea players, and I think he unfollowed them. Fofana's playing games for sure without actually handing. It was 180 or 90 plus bonuses. Oh, okay, right. I thought it was 100 when I Googled it. I must have got a bad site. But yeah, I think Fofana right now, he's trying all these little tricks to try and get a move. I'm not going to lie, Fofana, if you really want the move, you're probably just better hand in a transfer request. Not that you probably will, because you've got a great relationship with Rodgers. You got a World Cup trying to break in coming up. And, you play a lot at Leicester and they've been good to you. But I know he's not a player. I'm just being sarcastic. I didn't really make it clear, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I think if you really want to leave, you probably have to hand in a transfer request. That's the only way to really force it at this late stage. But we'll see. He's definitely moving about on socials and trying to make things happen. But yeah, Chelsea and Belgium striker Batshuayi is open to a move to Everton. But I've seen this morning that Everton are no longer interested in Batshuayi and they won't be going for him. So it looks like he will still find himself on the peripherals of the Chelsea squad this season unless he finds a move. He was on loan last season at Besiktas, I believe, in the Turkish league. Didn't do too bad. I think he got 14 goals in 20 odd something appearances. So it wasn't the worst season in the world. It was actually a decent season for him. It's disappointing that they're not coming for a permanent actually. But yeah, I think Everton have closed the door on that one. I don't think they'll be pushing forward with that. So that's unfortunate for Chelsea. And also, of course, Chelsea, as we know, are looking to really finish off the deal for Cucurella. Personal terms are agreed between the player and the club. Now it's about the fee. What the fee will be is 50 million is what Brighton are looking for. Apparently Chelsea are happy to pay that, according to Craig Hope, one of the sources that I've been seeing on the TL. So you would expect that this deal does get done pretty quickly. Manchester City have walked away. They won't go any higher than their 40 million valuation. We know that they can get Sosa from Stuttgart for cheaper. There are other left backs on the market as well. Angelino at RB Leipzig, Grimaldo at at Benfica. There's loads of options, alternatives that are cheaper than Cucurella. So Manchester City are looking to maybe, have a transfer window of positive net spend. I don't know if that's what it will be. It sounds like it will be. And yeah, they're really watching their money right now. So that's fine. For Chelsea's standpoint, people will ask the question, and I'm going to speak about it and try and explain it as best I can, why they're going for Cucurella. Why are Chelsea looking for a player that plays in the same position as Chilwell, who they spent 50 million on just a few seasons ago? In my opinion, with Cucurella, he does bring tactical versatility. He has played in that back three 10 times this season for Brighton and looked pretty good. He was brilliant at Stamford Bridge when he played in the back three on the left-hand side. Yes, he's not the tallest, but again, much like Martinez, who Manchester United have just signed. Even I said this with Koundé, who's got a very good leap, who's now joined Barcelona. I think if you've got the tenacity, if you've got a good leap, and you're not, if you're not getting bodied and pushed around, you can compete in the air. Cucurella's got about a 54% aerial dual success rate at the left side centre-back spot or the left wing-back spot last season in the Premier League. So it's not like as if he's been absolutely dominated. It's not like you're seeing him in the 40s and the 30s. Some of those percentages match up with some centre-backs. The same will apply to Martinez at Manchester United. Now, I'm not saying that these players won't be targeted. They 100% will be targeted. People will look at this as a weak point and in Manchester United and Chelsea if these deals confirm with Cucurella in regards to that. And they'll 100% try Cucurella in the air for sure. You'd much rather go up against Cucurella in the air than a Koulibaly or Thiago Silva. But as long as you can handle yourself, it's much like with Azpilicueta when we won the title with him in the back three. He wasn't the best in the air, but he handled himself and he dealt with it. So I think he was only exposed a couple of times, notably, actually, funnily enough, by Dele Alli at Stamford Bridge. I remember it quite well, 2 headers. So he will get targeted and it could be a weak point, but I think there's more pros than cons because the guy on the ball will be a massive help to replace what Rudiger is bringing. The strides down the left-hand side, carrying of the ball, and Rudiger's average position sometimes was quite high. If you guys remember him making those silly, mazy runs that were actually quite funny and good to watch, but he was making these runs and he could be an underlapping runner to Chilwell. He could be a guy that literally goes forward and Chilwell covers on transition. They have a little bit of a rotation between them. One sits off and one goes forward. Cucurella can obviously go forward very well in that left wing back spot. So there could be a little bit of a rotation that is unpredictable in that way. And of course, he allows you to, have cover for Chilwell, who just come off a massive injury. And I think Chelsea, we saw last season how they capitulated with those wing backs out injured, and the replacements were nowhere near the similar type profile in terms of counter pressing intensity, technical ability. So Chelsea need their wing backs to be of a high level. We see Man City over the years have rotated their full backs very well and have had the depth. And if you want to compete in this league at this point, you need Manchester City type depth, and that's what Chelsea are going for. So he covers off 2 positions. I do think that, even still, you want to not overplay Chilwell this season. That's a large part of it. There's obviously a World Cup coming up. I'm sure Chilwell will be involved with England, so that could even take his toll. And I also believe, final point on this, is that if you are playing a back three and Cucurella's on the left side, he can easily move to a left back position. You could then potentially look at, and I know Tuchel loves this, playing wingers at wing back in Hudson-Odoi. He also wanted to put Rafinha there. Similar logic applies with Reece James on that right-hand side. He would have played Reece James at right side centre-back, pushed him to the right back position, pushed Rafinha up into the wing position, and then it becomes a back four. So similar applies to Cucurella potentially in Hudson-Odoi on that left-hand side. Cucurella moves to the left, Hudson-Odoi moves to left wing. You immediately get to shift without making a substitution from a back three to a back four. So there's a lot of tactical versatility going on there. It's probably way too deep an explanation, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's the explanation there, because I know a lot of people are completely confused, but that's the logic I'm taking from it. Let's see these comments as well before we come to a close. Congrats, Jota, new contract signed. All right, I'm definitely going to have to search this up, because that's the second time I've seen that. And it wasn't on my list, and maybe it's only just happened. Very quick. So yes, 20 minutes ago, Fabrizio Romano has put out Jota has signed a new long-term contract with Liverpool, confirmed by the club statement. Jota's new deal is valid until 2027. This is a player that obviously played 39 games last season, 24 goals, 4 assists. That's 145 minutes per goal. Yeah, I definitely didn't do that maths, by the way. I've read that out. So he's had a great first season. Obviously, people complain sometimes his link-up play. Sometimes he's obviously not as maybe technically assured in that role as Firmino. But in terms of goal output, the guy has been doing the business. And it's a brilliant coup for Liverpool from Wolves. And he'll only get better. He's still young. I think he was 23 when he signed. So the player is still very, very young. And I'm sure Liverpool, like I said, tying him down to 2027, that is like a statement of intent where they've seen the first season. They're very impressed. They're like, right, we're nailing you down now, and we're going to keep the player for a long-term contract up until, 2027. He'll be coming into his late 20s then. And this is how they keep their wage bill on track, because they see, you deliver and you immediately get rewarded. And when you immediately reward a player, it allows you to put them on a wage where it is a good value for what they're currently doing. But now, in 2-3 years' time, when they probably would need an extension in normal terms, if you didn't give them the extension, you've already got them wrapped up. So it kind of is, you go hard or you go home. You put them on a higher wage immediately, like after a year or a year and a half, and then you don't have to go to an extreme wage in 2-3 years' time when a contract's running down. Potentially, then you get yourself into a sticky situation. And that contract now will take him into his late 20s, similar to a Mane or a Salah, or almost in that zone of 30s, where now you're looking at your final contract. They'll decide whether he's going to get improvement on his game or he's going to regress. And that's where the final contract comes in. So, yeah, they're doing a brilliant job on that front. All right. Let's see. Final comments. Obviously, I won't do my starting 11 here for Everton. This is not a Chelsea preview. Obviously, I'll do that on my own channel. Thoughts on De Jong news? I mean, listen, there's nothing more movement on that, so there's no point really digging into it until I see. I mean, we've spoken about De Jong a lot on this channel over the course of the summer. Until there's an official bid, at this point, there is not much to update on this. This is just news circulating and swirling around and around. At this point, it's just regurgitating old news. Let's see. I wasn't wearing Predators, bro. I wasn't wearing Predators. That was Saeed. All right, cool. Yeah, the stocks are rising for sure. All right. I think that's it. I think we've gone through everything for sure. That's basically all your news at the moment for today. Obviously, that Jota contract only just broke now. So big up your damn selves. Listen, make sure you smash up the likes. Absolute pleasure as always. Subscribe to the channel. Keep pushing the numbers up. And yeah, we'll see you next time for another daily transfer talk. Big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.